was able to discover the secrets, putting me as the chief federal judge of the United States of America, prosecuting judges for the past 32 years. That's what I do. I prosecute judges. I'm the bad boy. As a result of this, the reason I told you this is because everybody wants you to walk into the state court. Well, state is undefined. You live in the state of Indiana, right? That's not a true statement. You live in the Indiana Territory. The state of Indiana is the name of the vessel in dry dock called your courthouse. All courthouses are foreign vessels in dry dock controlled by the Department of Transportation. In other words, the port authorities control vessels in dry dock. All judges in the United States and all courthouses are paid by the port authorities. That's a very big secret. The port authorities are controlled by the DOT, Department of Transportation, which is owned by the Post Office, which owns the Treasury and the military and prints the money and pays the military to guarantee the value of the money. The United States District Court, United means no citizen. State is a condition of. District, D-I-S, means demon god of the underworld, for T-R-I-C-T, trickery. This is Latin. In a closed area called court. So when you walk into the United States District Court building, you are in a vessel, a foreign vessel in dry dock. Could be a spaceship from any planet, but not from Earth. So you've left planet Earth. You are no longer in the territory of Indiana. Now, all the laws written in Indiana for Indiana people do not apply in a foreign vessel in dry dock. You speak a foreign language called Babel. You are a foreign entity. And as a federal judge, when you walk in front of me, what do I have in front of me? Do I have a document that actually says something, or is it written in adverb verb by babbling attorneys and lawyers? What I have in front of me are your vessels, your body. Hold a thought in your hand. Show me the three-dimensional object of a thought. Do you know that a thought is not of this world? A thought isn't found on the periodic table. It's not a solid, it's not a liquid, it's not a gas, it's not a chemical. And yet we all have thoughts. It's an energy, comes from our aura, electrical chemical energy, but it is not of this world. A thought can pierce dimensions, can change through time and space. I can hold the entire known universe, which they say is supposed to be 8.4 billion years old from the Big Bang, in the palm of my hand with a thought. Or I can crawl inside the middle of a quark of a hydrogen atom and exist there with a thought. So a thought is a very unique thing. We can close our eyes every night when we dream, and we can be anything we want to be in this world of thought. And I know everyone in this room has had weird dreams at times. And in those weird dreams, you see things that don't exist in this world, because you're probably transporting, because the thought is not of this world, into other realms, other planes of dimension. Well, this is what's unique. I can't see that as a federal judge. The only thing I can see in front of me is a vessel. Does this vessel come before me with the correct passport, with the correct paperwork, with a lawsuit written in the correct parsing syntax grammar? Or does the vessel come before me on my foreign vessel spaceship from another planet, and are you trespassing without any rules, regulations, or codes? Well, the only thing I have as a judge in front of me is a vessel that's trespassing. And everybody knows there's a law for trespassing. And I don't care what language you speak, and I don't care what educational levels you have, or what country you come from. Everyone understands the word perjury. It means to tell a lie. So the minute you open your mouth, we presume you're smart until you start talking. And because you're talking in babble and you're talking in adverb verb fiction, now you've committed perjury. A vessel that's trespassing, committing perjury in front of me. I got 2 felonies in front of me. So it doesn't matter if you're here for traffic, doesn't matter if you're here for foreclosure, doesn't matter if you're here for divorce, marriage, doesn't matter what you're here for. The only thing I've got in front of me is a physical evidence in now time of a trespassing individual committing perjury. Now I can make a determination as to what your fine is going to be. How rich are you? How much money you got in your pocket to bail yourself out and leave my vessel? You can go down here to the port of Chicago or Gary, Indiana, jump on a Chinese freighter with a Chinese flag on it without a passport, and I guarantee you'll be arrested, put in a brig, and taken back to China, where you'll be prosecuted and spend 8 years in prison for trespassing. And then the State Department can bail you out and bring you back to the United States. It's no different in a courtroom. It's a big old trap, folks. People have been walking into it since 8,500 years. Really great piece of engineering. Just a little heads up on that. Reason I tell you this story about Hawaii is because it's the beginning of something that was very cynical. To capture planet Earth. All money on planet Earth is controlled by the Postal Service. Who's on, what's the decimal point for 1? 1.00, right? Who's on a $100 bill? Benjamin Franklin, first Postmaster General of the United States of America. President Grant was a Postmaster General during the Civil War. A country divided into 1/2. Decimal point for 1/2 is 0.50. Who's on a $50 bill? Grant. Abraham Lincoln. No, go before that. George Washington, letter carrier, Continental Congress, 1875. And he was a letter carrier. And on September 17th, 1789, the United States of America signed the Constitution of the United States of America. And so, therefore, he was the first president. Pre, meaning no. SI is simulation, and DENT is denture, contract. Anything, the word no is a negative. Negative is 0. 0 times any fact, simulation, or contract becomes 0. Therefore, the math interface says that a pre-simulation denture, better known as a president, is a person who only says nothing about nothing. Have you ever seen a president that ever made any sense? Okay. I know it's a joke, but it's a good one. Yeah, it's all played out in syntax. So the grammar that's used for modification is what they keep us down with, what they teach you in school. Now, lawyers and attorneys are all licensed to lie. They write everything in adverb, verb, adverb, adjective, pronoun, and pronoun, adverb, verb. They don't use prepositional phrases because they're not allowed to use a fact. No law or fact shall be tried in court. And if you want to put that in there, of law, and everybody uses this terminology, attorney at law, attorney of law, whatever. Parts of speech. No is an adverb, it's negative. Law now becomes a verb, negative. Or is a neutral. Negative fact becomes a negative verb also. Shall is a pronoun in future time, connected to the adverb be, which now modifies a verb in past time. In is an adverb making court a verb, of is an adverb making law a court a verb. Now we've got one jurisdiction, ladies and gentlemen. We have a verb law, a verb court, verb tried, verb law, verb fact. Now we have one jurisdiction called fiction, fraud, illusion. Every word in the English language, and I spent 8,000 hours in 2 years with a staff of individuals with dictionaries. We looked up every word in the English language that starts with a vowel and 2 consonants. It means no contract. Every word. Now, when you look at any contract or any newspaper or magazine, and you see the word starts with a vowel, A, E, I, O, and U, and it's used as a single syllable, it means no contract also. Opinion. O is no. P-I-N is to attach or grab. I-O-N is contract. Opinion. No attached contract. Therefore, that's why it's called an opinion. You can have a gain, G-A-I-N, and you put A in front of it, again, you have no gain. You can have an attorney, A-T-T, no tort. You can have an illusion, I-L-L, which means you cannot see a contract. Imagination, I-M-M. You cannot mangle. You can't mangle something, therefore there's no fact. So the imagination, I-O-N, means contract. A-N-T-E-N-T-I-O-N-T-Y. Any vowel that appears in front of a vowel that ends a word means contract. It's a two-letter contract. That's how you can tell these things. This is called parse, P-A-R-S-E, parts of speech. S-C is Latin for speech. P-A-R is parts. So what I did was I studied parse. I studied syntax. Syntax is how two words come together. And the word grammar is how a sentence is constructed. Do you know that all grammar, a correct worded sentence, only has one verb in it? The average sentence written by an attorney has anywhere from 3 to 5 verbs in it. Some sentences have adverb, verb, adverb, verb, adverb, verb. The whole sentence is written that way. There's not even an adjective or a pronoun, a preposition, article, or a fact. When you were in school, 5th grade, we studied prepositional phrases. That was the preposition, article, and noun made up your prepositional phrase. Mrs. Lusher was my 5th grade English teacher in Marion County Grade School in North Grove, Indiana. I grew up with the Amish, the Mennonite, and the Hoosiers. I come from North Grove, Indiana. My family's been there since 1834. North Grove, Indiana was where the first house in the state of Indiana was built by my cousin. My fifth cousin's on my mother's side. But we came here from Pennsylvania. I'm Cherokee. My great-great-grandmother was full-blooded Cherokee, and my grandfather came to Switzerland in 1780. Settled here in North Grove, Indiana. Half the people in the town are related to me as great aunts and great uncles, and going all the way back to 1834. My cousin, who I played with in 1957, was born in 1838. She died in 1957 when I was 8 years old. 114 years old she was, living in the same house her parents built in North Grove, Indiana. Isn't that something? She's in the Guinness Book of World Records. This is one of the oldest people living. And I think she's probably one of the oldest ones in Indiana. And I used to work on the farms with the Quakers and the Amish here in Indiana, cutting hay and driving tractors, and I had my fun playing in the hay, the harvest time. So I'm fully aware of the politics and everything. And Mrs. Lusher, my English teacher, was my next door neighbor. We had an 80-acre farm with 40 pigs. We had 40 head of cattle, and we were farmers too. My mom and dad gave that a shot. I had six brothers and sisters, so big family. When we studied prepositions, pre meant no, position. An article, anytime you have a vowel and two consonants, ART, we have no ownership. So if you have no position and you have no ownership, you have a no-no. N-O is no, and UN is no in Latin, better known as the noun. So what we did is when we disqualified this in 1999, we had to come up with a brand new answer for a mathematical interface on grammar. So we did this. We had a position, dropping the word pre, and the word lodio is spelled L-O, which is location, D-I is original, A-L is contract. And if you have ownership, in other words, for my pen, for is a position, my is lodio, and pen would then become a fact. Now, if I just were to drop one of these two positions here and say my pen and drop the word for, or with my pen, and I drop the word with, and just say my pen, my becomes an adverb, and an adverb modifies a verb. Modification is change, change is motion, motion is action, action is verb. See, all ADV, vowel two consonants, modifier. ADJ, adjective, color, modifier. PRO, no. NO, no. UN, no. They gave us a lot of negative choices, all to go with this sentence here. When you graduate from judge school, you learn this article. Do you learn this? All judges, attorneys, lawyers, politicians all swear the same oath, that no law or fact shall ever be tried in court. And no is a negative. That's why the sign says no trespassing, no parking, no don't walk. And see, what the sign should read, for the trespassing on this land is with the fee of the $5,000. For the parking of the car in this space is with the fee of the $500. That's a performance contract. Everyone understands performance contracts. Now I have the Pizza Hut next to the Outback Steakhouse. Very popular places on Saturday night and Friday night. And the people came to my seminar from Pizza Hut. They said, you know, we've got 2 spaces reserved for delivery. And everybody parks in there, and my delivery guy's got no place to park. I says, well, put a sign up. For the parking of the car is with the crushing and melting. The sign next to it says, for the parking of the cars with the fee of the $500. No one ever parked in those 2 parking spaces again, except the delivery man. Problem solved, because everyone understands the performance contract. Now, here's another little quirk, point of information. Somebody impounds your car. You parked it where it wasn't supposed to be parked, and they towed it, put it in an impound lot. And the guy wants some $250 for towing and $100 a day for storage. Well, anybody that's in possession of your vehicle that doesn't have title to it is renting your vehicle. So you send him a true bill for renting your automobile for as long as he's had it. If you want to go down to the local courthouse, you can pull up a lawsuit by Avis Rent-A-Car or Hertz Rent-A-Car, copy it, and sue the tow truck company. Or if a police officer orders a tow truck company to remove your vehicle from the highway and he won't give it back to you, send him a true bill for for rent-a-car. Your car will be back in 1 day, maybe a couple hours. Works every time. Just a little plug there. The fraud that takes place here is profound with the courthouses and the courts. And you know, people say we're in court, and the judge says, this is Judge Wasilewski, he says, you know, David, after he took away my children in 1980, I went to trial 65 consecutive times, 2 weeks apart, under what's called a writ of de novo. Now, this is a pronoun, adverb, adverb, verb. But if you put for the writ of de novo, then this becomes a 5, a 6, a 7, a 5, a 6, and a 7. This is French, but de means the, in novo, it would then become a fact. So I filed for the writ of the de novo. Now, what that means is if you violate equality, that's discrimination, that's a crime. 1964 Civil Rights Act violation. So for the writ of de novo is your ticket to get a free trial for anything. I don't care what it is. They cannot move forward on any topic. If they want to foreclose your house, and they use adverb, verb, they didn't give you equal protection of the law, that's a prepositional phrase, for the protection of the law using the correct parse, syntax, grammar. Therefore, you can sue for a writ of de novo just for the be correct on the grammar. Doesn't matter if you got a mortgage or a deed of trust. Indiana uses the terminology mortgage. California uses the terminology deed of trust. Deed is a pronoun, of is an adverb, making trust a verb. The word mortgage, by it stands alone on top of your document, is called a pronoun. There's no prepositional phrase. You know, if I hold up this object, you see a pen. In Spanish, it's scribola. And if I hold this object about 5,000 languages, I'll get 5,000 different sounding effects to what it is. Does 2 plus 2 equal 4? How many of you think 2 plus 2 equals 4? All right, just all's fair. Did you hear what I said, what I meant, what I said, what I said, what I meant, what I said? I can do this 150 different ways before I'm going to get it right. So don't ever presume what you think I said, because if my lips are moving, I'm lying to you. That's what a judge said to me. He says, all you got to do is prove it. He says, and in 8,500 years, Wasilewski says, no one has ever proved it. And I said to him, I said, oh, I says, I know what you said to me. You said to me, wait a minute. He says, you mean to say if I say yes, you're going to say no? He goes, yep. And if I say no, you're going to say yes? He says, that's right. And I says, all right. Does 3 plus 3 equal 6? He goes, yeah. He says, no one ever went to war over a math problem in the history of mankind. No religion, no political organization, no condition of state, no country ever went to war over a math problem. 2 weeks ago, President Obama and President Bill Clinton sat on the podium at the Republican convention on national TV, and the closing statement by Bill Clinton was, no one ever went to war over a math problem in the history of mankind, and we're doing it correct. That's an exact quote from all 2,500 seminars I've done. And by the way, I was Bill Clinton's counsel for the sex trial. Remember the phrase, for those that are old enough? The question was, what is sex? Bill Clinton goes, depends on what the definition of is. And then Bill Clinton turns to the judge and says, I just showed the American people a verb is and a noun is. Would you like me to show them another verb and another noun? And the judge stands up and says, there will be no further questions, Mr. President. This court stands adjourned. Well, every newspaper, TV, announcer, magazine had a comment about that. It became a very, very, very famous phrase. And that famous phrase was one question and a demurred, where demur means to answer a question with a question. And the trial is over. And so nobody knew what it meant. I knew what it meant. I was his counsel. Senator Bill Clinton says to me, Dave, he says, that worked really good. He says, but I got to go in front of Congress, he says, 2 weeks. And I can't take my lawyer with me. I says, well, you're a lawyer, Bill. I says, I'll tell you what you do. You remember the movie A Few Good Men with Tom Cruise and Jack Nicholson? You want the truth, I'll tell you the truth, but you can't handle the truth. Jack Nicholson won Best Actor for that phrase on the witness stand. And the movie won Best Picture that year. And what it was the